Hello, this is Gerald Theo van Was. In this video, which is the second part, I will explain how certain letters are used in the logic to frame them within timings. Some of them are used simply as the foundations to have something to base upon, something objective and so on. But we of course use logic in language, not just with grammar, but also the letters that are chosen. They also help this logic, and I figured it out thanks to a method based upon also numerology, but also about certain principles that gain in complexity within this order. And here are the letters that are all related with timing, and so they are also used in this way. The examples, how this works in the practice, I will show you in other videos. But basically, we are orientating ourselves within space and name the objects, name the orientations. We need certain orientations, and it's actually a very logical way to do so, that certain orientations for us, when they are simple, we only need an orientation in space, and we use certain letters for that. If that's not enough and we see that, okay, it's not such a stable position and the things are changing a little bit, we name them also different, and we use also different letters for that. So around A are the objects that have that stable condition, but when they lose that stable condition and we have to time them, we time them within E and O. And even then, when this is also not enough and we can't time them, but there are also values that are surrounding us, and we have to estimate them and see how they work, and we have to work in a different way with them, that we can't say immediately like, okay, we have a planning for that and it works always. No, we need more complex ideas for it, and they are associated with around, let's say, the vowel of E. There are three different regions, three different associations, three different ways of associating, and they all use different letters. And all the letters, they have this numerical order, they fit into one of these three categories. Basically, we prefer to have, of course, a stable starting point, that's logic, and we use a spatial orientation to start from. We look for certainty and so on, but very quickly we already find points that certain things are really not that certain, because they don't remain stable. They are different than we expect. They're different than the stable conditions that we think they are there in the first place. So we have to realize that also everything we see in the world, it starts from our vision, so our also capabilities or lack of capabilities mostly. That's why we need language for, because it's actually based not upon achievements and about, wow, we are so great and we speak about our greatness. No, we started to speak because we don't understand each other otherwise, so we have to make bridges. We have to make bridges for the things that we do not know, for the uncertainties, not for the certainties. Of course, we are so much in a mindset of intellectuality that we sometimes think that we know it all, and that we have an opinion that we know it all, and that we have to defend an opinion because we know it all, because we are basing ourselves upon these certainties. But already in the logic of letters, this spatial orientation and orientation of reality of what these stable points are, we very quickly need to notice also that things are not so orientated, so stable. So we think we have a perspective and we can count on this perspective because it's our perspective, and it doesn't work like that. Because very quickly realize that the perspective of things, the things are how they are projected, they are facing towards a different point. And so we realize that there is another point, another vision. There are differences. In the first place, we start to defend our vision. That stable point has to remain stable, and so we very quickly, or at first, we have a fight about it because we want the stable positions. That's very easy to orientate ourselves upon. We have definitions, they are clear, and they shouldn't be unclear. So if you have a different opinion, we have a tendency, especially now of the post-corona time, we defend just one opinion, and that's it. We are in the stable position. We sit in our chair, and we try to remain there. But things are differently orientated. We face differences. So what is actually going on when we face differences? In the first place, we try to look for certainties the whole time, but because we already have an appointment, we checked and we saw and we appointed these uncertainties, we have to know that there is more than one vision. We have just one point, and our vision is a starting point. It is our starting point, and for the moment we still count on that mostly. But we first have to acknowledge that there are differences. So with U, the letter U, at a certain point, we already acknowledge differences. The first thing we do is, of course, that we base upon what we know that is certain. And a very good thing and a very advantage thing is also with this U, that it has an openness. This U also says some things I don't know for sure. I'm not sure if I have them already. And we start to compare from the moment on. So actually from the whole system onwards, it should quickly go to these doubts, to these moments of doubts, because it also creates an openness. After A, it was a certainty, and then it already went away from that certainty, because once we projected with T the focus on the orientation, we saw that some things are off within K, and in U, we start anew with already a doubt that has been created, which is a very good thing. And even though we base ourselves upon what we know already, we already have a second point, which in the first place we will use it in a very defensive way, but it's an open creation. It is like that we already know that we have something, and some things we might have or we might not have, or we at some point we also will come to the point that okay, but maybe we can achieve it, or maybe we can try to understand it. Not in the first point of the doubt, because in the doubt we still create that slight difference in focus and say okay, then we base ourselves upon the focus that we know already, and on we have a second focus within that of an uncertainty, and we can still balance that out a little bit from our viewpoint at the beginning. And when we go through all the phases in the physical reference points, ATK, ULBC, MX, we come at the end at the X, and by the time of the X we also realize that some of the things are organized differently. So we cannot go for it and say like, okay, but I want to defend my truth and my starting point of vision. At some point you have to see, and that's what happens with the X, we have to see that these things are behaving differently. They have a different viewpoint. So, and that's the starting point of realization. There is I and there is you. Already with the U letter, there was that doubt that there were differences, but with you, the complete word you have a realization that there is a different starting point, and that's the starting point of change. That's the starting point of timings. That's the starting point of maybe there is another starting point, and from that starting point I can make realizations. I can make comparisons by making two starting points, by splitting your vision into I and you, or It's my starting point, and a different time, a different timing, a different placement. There are at least always a comparison between 2 points, and maybe I can reach that point after the x. We will come to u. And let's just write down already the letter u. You have here the y, the o, and the u in the order that you can read it. And you see it starts from my vision point, goes towards the point in O, the other point, the point of reach, and then within the spatial frame, okay, it's in the future, I can maybe make it what is incomplete, what I don't know. The I from that point onwards, it no longer defends the one vision, because maybe I can reach you and can reach you, or can reach these things. And that's the starting point of the timings. It's a different focal point than the spatial frame orientation into a point that has become now a 0 point. Now I go from 0 to 1. I will have a certain reframing of what my certainty is. The 1, which is basically about the definition, the certainty, has a certain range of balance that has to be rebalanced and has to be rebalanced out. It's no longer stable in space. It is using its balancing out in timings. So we use timing, we use planning, and the number 1 is the definition of the conditions that we should reach, might reach, could reach, whatever. It might not be there now, in that what is now the 0 point. Maybe later we can prepare for it, we can time it, we can plan it, and we can compare things. We might be able to do some changes, or just follow the changes, because that's the first thing that we'll do. It's not that you are going to change, but you're going to follow the changes. So maybe if it's not here now, so maybe I have it later. It's that kind of thinking that is started in the beginning. So on the first level, of course, it's always the physical level first. It is like, okay, we don't have it now, but can we also reach what we do not have now? Can we reach this physically? Can we reach this? And so we go from a 0 point to the new 1 point via the first letter, which is the D. And the D projects itself. It is like this half circle, and it projects itself and it opens itself up. It goes towards something. It goes to a potential perspective, which we time, of course. It's the starting point of timing. We start to time, we start to estimate. We have that doubt, so that's a good thing in this case. And we have a starting point that maybe we go towards that. Maybe we can have it. We use the uncertainty via the now towards the future. And what do? We just estimate its new working foundations and see, what will we receive there, what we will get there. It's that goal, it's that mindset that we use in the letter D. The next letter is the letter N. So that's the next letter. So after the foundations, the foundation of, I focus towards the other point in time, I focus now, how is it filled in? Not how will I fill it in, it's not necessary. What will be filled in? So I have my starting point again in 0. Look at the bottom of what do I have. And of course, it's not only what I have, there's also a part that what I still do not have, what the other person might have, maybe. And it's checking actually its full distribution, its whole process in time, what is filled in as material in time after a while. That's that kind of focus of N. In reality, it is, it sees the distribution, it's irregular, It changes in content, it changes how it's filled in after a while. The Y, the next letter, is a bit the conclusion of that. So it also tries to calculate, what has become different after a while. So I don't have it now, but maybe in future. Or how can I focus upon it, on what the changes that can occur against now. That's how the Y is used. Then on the next level, of course, D, N and Y are on the first level, so it will be about placements. How can I place the things? On the next level, it will of course be about timing, so it will focus completely upon the timing. First, focus downwards to what I can reach of material. Now I will see what I can reach in timing, in producement. Also about material, but materialization after a while in this case. We no longer compare the placements themselves, but here we will compare the timings, and the first letter of the timings will be O. And I put them in the middle because it's in the middle phase as well, and it will also go from the first beginning to the ending. It's not just only about starting, it's about the whole process. The whole process is expressed already as a starting point of the whole process in the letter O, and this letter O will be about all the steps and all the phases in timing that I will face there. It will face also all the phases, all the positions, all things that you can also already associate within O. The next letter will be about the timing itself. About timing. Timing is of course from left to right in our logic, but this also in the vertical position is also important. So it is about the timing itself, but also the moment when the timings can happen. With the O, the moments are also shown, but in E, it also happens. It is that pulse, that impulse, that drives, the changes that can happen. Change is maybe written with the letter A as an activity that says, okay, it is about something that is becoming a reality, but because of its pronounced as E, it says also it is becoming. It is in the timing. It is the timing, and you have the timing by making the timing, by making it happen. Next letter is the Z. So you have it more or less goes towards the end effect of the timings, the end effects. You have two kinds of end effects. It's the Z is the inwardly effect, so it goes an effect into that direction, or an outwardly effect, which goes towards the environment, towards the world already, towards anywhere else. That's that effect that has a different perspective and attention than the W. Okay, the last series, the last level of this green series. So you have D and Y, you have O, E, Z, W already. Now you have G, F, P. They will be about the final results and effects and limits as well of this whole process. It will show its complete results, its lasting effects. It remains, and it looks what will come out of it. It will see and have a look and what it can achieve. This is the logic behind it. It is the logic behind the system. If you follow my videos, you will notice that there is a kind of logic which is followed all the time in all these sections as well. And even if I explain it differently a lot of times, it doesn't matter. The logic actually that is used in the balancing out is always the same thing. The G, okay, I can write it down in the full space here. The G, it already sees the perspective, the starting point of going towards the end results. So it is looking at the remains of what it will want to receive. And if I put the size correctly, which is the smallest size, I have it here as the G. But it also is about the last section. It will go to the results in time. So I'll focus mainly on the end results, and also the end results which go will even have its effect on the surroundings, on the full context, and so on. I will be able to receive a better connection with the bigger context. The focus is in that direction, and that's the G about it. I have the starting point which focuses towards that last, to the results that work. So when you use the letter G, you use it that you do something which is practical for the end results, even no matter if you don't understand them and so on, you just use them because they are practical. So what will be gained by using this letter? It's just like, okay, it's maybe some things are not for me, maybe some things are your thing. Also with the sound y, by the way, it's yours and maybe not mine, but nevertheless, if I use it, also with the y, if I use it, I can gain from it because it's useful. That's the mentality and that focus. Then you have the letter F, a little bit higher, a bit up, so you uplift even its full circumstances. And with the P, you go towards the complete end results. That's something that might even benefit ourselves. Okay, I'm not talking about all the aspects that you have in this way, but you can already understand what kind of level of attention that you go to. You show simply all the things that can be gained and that could at some point benefit us all. It's just one reminder that the viewpoint which we use in the timings is still our personal viewpoint. So anything that we do there, it's still quite selfish actually, because we deal with the other person, we deal what the other person is different, but in a way we still deal with it, not to fight with it, but to try to gain something for ourselves from our personal viewpoint, and that's the way we still think in that region. And it is from one viewpoint we can still maintain the viewpoint until the end, until the letter P. We can still maintain our viewpoint, even with some force, like the police force, let's say. We try to keep control from our viewpoint, but that's the last moment you can still do. If you don't agree so much, and you have that, there will be a tendency that there will be, a discrepancy, that the people will not be happy that you always defend that one opinion. There's also something about what will be benefits us all. When the P is already referring to the definition of what will benefit for us all, like the police do, it has in the background this idea. It still is a personal engagement actually. But what if it doesn't work? If we have to go to differences that cannot be gained by control, that cannot be gained like I want to achieve and I go for that goal. Certain things should also be balanced out again in a different way, and that's the last category, and that I already explained somewhere else. It's where things need to change. Here, actually, you didn't have to adapt to the other. You didn't have to make that balance towards the other. You're always busy with, okay, what works for me? In the last category, it is like what works. Simply, what does work for you and me? And then you no longer have two vision points. You have at least three vision points in which there is a balance and a balancing out. You just look at the things as how they are, and balance them out. It's a different way of thinking. That's the next level, and I already had a video about that next level. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, that you have also a more and better understanding of how the letters have an orientation somewhere in time and space. They also used like that, and you can also understand them like that. And okay, I think it will be enough theory for now, so the next couple of videos I'll have to make some, at least hopefully also shorter and simple examples. Okay, thanks again for watching. Bye bye.